As the country continues to experience flooding due to persistent rains, the Kruger National Park is among those severely affected, with officials advising visitors to be extra cautious. Let's look at how the flooding has affected the Kruger National Park now with Isaac Phaahla, who's the spokesperson for SANParks. Isaac, thank you for making time for us. So what's been the impact of these heavy rains at the Kruger National Park?
Good afternoon to you, Clement, and good afternoon to your viewers. Firstly, congratulations on a very stellar broadcasting career. I'm a big fan and I follow your work both on radio and television. Well, we have been affected quite like the country, the whole of the country, but not as severely as we would have expected given the amount of water that we had. Most affected is our road infrastructure, especially the gravel roads, which we have closed as a precautionary measure. And there are some roads that have been washed away. The road between Skukuza and Lower Sabi is still inaccessible because of the part that was washed away. But generally, we have been negatively affected, and it's especially in the south of the park.
So what services or even activities for visitors have been affected around that area?
Well, they are welcome to come and visit. We've seen some people coming in, but obviously the movement is restricted only to the tarred roads that are still operational. There are 3 rest camps which we have closed, and those are Crocodile Bridge, Lower Sabi, as well as a remote camp called Talamati. We haven't been admitting people to those areas because we don't want to place their lives in danger.
There are a number of rivers around the area. I imagine the focus now will be on also monitoring those, the way that they flow. I mean, you mentioned Sabi now. The Sabi River that's close to the Paul Kruger Gate was fluctuating at some point. I imagine that's the case with the other rivers.
It definitely is. Oliphants River, Letaba River, Sand River. In fact, most of the rivers are flowing very strongly. In the north, it's normal summer rains that we are expecting, the flows that we have seen, which do not threaten any infrastructure at all. But the south, it's been a little bit heavier than in other parts of the park. And that is why we have taken the decision to close some of those gravel roads. And let me hasten to say that we find 4 people who were removing barriers and moving into those roads, and we had to rescue some of them. So even if you are a tour operator and you still want to give satisfaction to your tourists, your clients, you will be placing their lives in danger if you open those barriers and drive through those roads because they are very dangerous at this stage.
And how have the animals been affected?
Well, the animals, it's funny, that's the question that we get mostly. But they are the first one to sense if there's a catastrophe that's coming and move on to higher ground. We've never had any reports thus far of any animals that have strayed into communities. Although they are in the Matsulu area, we know that there was an incident where an elephant was reported in that site. We got our colleagues from MTPA to go and attend to the scene. But the animals thus far not negatively affected.
What message do you have as SANParks to the visitors that are at the Kruger National Park now, but also people who have been considering coming to visit the park in the coming days?
Those with confirmed bookings, we urge them to contact our central reservations so that they can rearrange their visits or they can get credited onto their profiles. And they should just keep looking at our website and our social media platforms for updates on the situation on the ground. But the 3 rest camps that I mentioned that have been closed, we're hoping that as the forecasts indicate, there is going to be a drying up period in the coming weeks. We'll be able to properly assess the roads and make a decision on whether to open those rest camps or not in the next 2-3 days.
Yeah. When last did you experience this volume of water? I was trying to think back that the worst was probably back in 2012 when there was the floods at the time. And how do you prepare for such incidents as the park?
We're fortunate to have had the experience starting way back in 2000 when we had those devastating floods that also affected people in Mozambique. And since then, we established the Disaster Management Committee. We still have majority of the members on that panel, and they are the ones that are guiding us through this ones. We had other floods in 2020, and as well where we were able to manage that we didn't lose any lives, and the damage to the infrastructure can always be fixed, Clement. But, I mean, we can't bring back somebody that has passed away tragically through floods. So we've been fortunate in that regard that we have people who are experts in what they do, and we follow their guidance.
Yeah. Isaac Phaahla, spokesperson for SANParks. Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us, and thanks for your kind words earlier as well. Let's move